On the home front, Arizonans of all ages and all walks of life did their part and more to support the United States effort in World War I. They actively participated in charitable organizations and worked long hours on ranches, farms, and mines, all while helping soldiers and their families. The Arizona Red Cross, even before the declaration of war, had been serving thousands of soldiers who either passed through or were serving on the border during the hunt for Pancho Villa. Once war was declared, local Red Cross volunteers began actively manning food stands known as hunger huts, where they served food and beverages to soldiers. They also made surgical dressings, clothing, and knitted garments for Army units stationed in Arizona and troops overseas. The Red Cross raised money to help fund home service activities by arranging socials, dances, barbecues, and other activities. Most of this aid went to families of Arizona servicemen sent to fight the war, but some went to refugees overseas. By war's end, the Arizona Red Cross had collected and sent over 4 tons of clothing to help the war-ravaged civilians of Europe. Throughout World War I, the YMCA provided morale and welfare services for the military. By war's end, they had operated 1,500 canteens in the United States and France, set up 4,000 YMCA huts for recreation and religious services, and raised more than $235 million for relief work. The Arizona YMCA actively supported national YMCA efforts. They provided nurses, chaplains, food, and morale-boosting activities to the people of Arizona while sending YMCA members to Europe to aid soldiers and civilians. The Salvation Army of Arizona, like the Red Cross, directly aided the families of soldiers, supplying them with food, aid, and comfort. They were well known for their pastries, making sure the servicemen passing through the state had a hot cup of coffee and a donut. Arizona troops of the Boy Scouts of America provided community services and assistance to the Red Cross and Salvation Army. They were especially helpful supporting the Red Cross in local Liberty Bond rallies and events. The Arizona Boy Scouts also answered the President's nationwide call for a black walnut tree survey. The black walnut, a native Arizona tree, was very important to the war effort, as it was used almost exclusively in the production of airplane propellers. Arizonans bought over $45 million in war bonds and contributed over $500,000 to the Arizona Red Cross. In every fundraising drive, including Liberty Bonds, thrift stamps, and Red Cross campaigns, Arizona donors filled or overfilled their quotas. The women of Arizona were instrumental in reaching these goals, being responsible for selling more than half of all war bonds sold in Arizona. The Arizona State Legislature did their part by passing state laws benefiting the Arizona men who served their country. The legislation stipulated that Arizona National Guard members would be credited for their time in the Federal Army. Arizona servicemen and their families would be protected from delinquent rents, taxes, and court actions, and guaranteed that all who served in the military would have the right to vote in all state and local elections. The farmers, ranchers, and miners of Arizona did their part, supplying many of the materials, supplies, and food items needed to run the American war machine. The cotton fields of Arizona produced thousands of bales of cotton that were used for clothing, military items, and airplanes. Long staple cotton, known as Pima cotton, was used in the production of aircraft tires and aviation fabric that was used to cover the bodies and wings of combat planes. Thousands of horses and mules were bred for the war effort, and hundreds of thousands of beef cattle were raised to feed the troops on the front. In 1917, Arizona was the largest producer of copper in the nation. This strategic metal was one of Arizona's greatest contributions in the fight against Germany. It was used in shell casings, engine parts, communications gear, and hundreds of other military applications. The caring and unselfish citizens of Arizona will long be remembered for their hard work and sacrifices made on the home front. Arizonans did their part to help win the war to end all wars.
You served your country in a time of war. You probably learned a few things about yourself, about being part of something bigger. As a veteran, your life of service has just begun. Help your community, your country, and your fellow vets. And have a good time doing it with people who get you. The American Legion. Be part of the legacy. Share the vision.